From Recorded Future News and PRX, this is Click Here. On the night of October 1st, 2017, Kevin Menace was doing rounds in the ER when a nurse motioned him over. Her face made clear that something terrible had happened.
Las Vegas is on lockdown after a gunman opened fire at a popular outdoor country music festival.
That's when I first heard about it, that there was a mass shooting and that victims were coming our direction. This is the scariest thing you could ever handle or deal with. You can talk about it, you can prepare for it, but there's no practicing this.
Sirens are kind of the soundtrack of an emergency room. Loud, then fading, a pause at every stoplight. It's a very particular rhythm that ER staff know well. It's a sound you can learn to kind of read. But that night, the cadence was off.
When I was out there in the ambulance bay listening, it was different.
The volume was holding steady, which Kevin said told him that they weren't waiting at the stoplights. They were running them. And that was a little unnerving. Because there were so many of them.
Yeah, because there was so many of them.
Wow. Had you ever responded to or witnessed something at the Las Vegas scale before?
No one has ever witnessed anything at that scale.
They didn't know it yet, but what happened that night in Paradise, Nevada would come to be known as the deadliest mass shooting by a single gunman in U.S. history. 60 people were killed and more than 400 injured. The decisions Kevin and his team made that night didn't stay in Las Vegas. They caught the attention of a researcher at a Defense Department lab in Washington, and it sparked an idea that could change not just the way emergency rooms respond to mass casualty events, but how the military treat wounded soldiers on the battlefield. I'm Dina Temple-Raston, and this is Click Here. We tell true stories about the people making and breaking our digital world. In mass shootings, doctors like Kevin Menace have to make life and death decisions under extraordinary mental and emotional pressure. Could artificial intelligence help them make those decisions when every second counts?
Imagine yourself in Dr. Menace's position where you're making life-altering decision, and a succession of them. It just sort of grounds, at least for me, how impactful and challenging that is for the decision maker who bears the responsibility for all those decisions.
Stay with us. From Recorded Future News and PRX, this is Click Here. I'm Dina Temple-Raston. The moment Kevin Menace realized how many patients were about to come through the emergency room doors, he picked up the phone and started issuing orders. Open every operating room, get every scrub tech, every nurse, every anesthesiologist, every surgeon. Get them to the ER now.
I didn't really have much emotion. I think I was on autopilot at that point.
He and his team pushed every empty bed and every wheelchair out to the ambulance bay. And then they waited. Finally, the ambulances started pulling in.
And when I got that first look into the car, that's when I knew the scale that we were about to deal with was something that, was nightmarish and just bigger than anything you could even imagine.
And the thing is, emergencies like this aren't just about medicine. They're about decisions, where you place staff, how you stage equipment, how you distribute supplies. And those choices can matter as much as the treatments themselves. Because let's say you only have one trauma bay, but 2 patients arrive, and then more.
You turn that to 3, you turn it to 4, and you have patients who are waiting in the line, but they're dying while waiting.
You have to decide, fast, who gets treated first and who waits. Fortunately for Kevin, he wasn't the first to face these choices. There's a process for triage, one that dates back centuries.
This is a system back from Napoleon's time. And that's the mass casualty triage system taught, all over the world.
It's simple, a little brutal, but very necessary. A color-coded system of flags. A red flag means immediate, do something now, or they'll die. Yellow flag, serious, but you have a little time. Green flag, they'll live even without immediate care. And black, already gone.
So it's black, red, yellow, and green.
It was a system designed for speed, not certainty. And using that system, Kevin tagged patient after patient for hours.
Red, green, yellow, red, green.
Hundreds of victims, tough calls, complex decisions.
Yellow, red, green, red.
The same judgment repeated again and again under mounting pressure.
Green, red, yellow.
All night until 5 a.m., when his shift was finally over. Kevin went home and fell into bed. And when he woke up,
I had never been that sore in my entire life because I had I sprinted from patient to patient for the, 7-8 hours that we were working.
the adrenaline faded. And then something else crept in. Doubt. That's when the second guessing started.
How could I have done this better? Where was I slow and how could I have sped this up? What did I not recognize? What did I do right?
Because once the crisis passes, the questions don't. There were things he'd change. Of course there were. But overall, he actually felt pretty good about what they'd done. And so did others. One doctor, a mentor, even told him, "You should write about this."
I'm not one who seeks notoriety. I don't want any of that. But she guilted me in saying that, somebody could learn from you.
So he wrote a journal article detailing what happened in the ER that night. A month later, it came out. And what he thought would be useful for doctors turned out to resonate far beyond emergency room medicine. Because sitting in a lab at the Department of Defense, someone else read that article, and they saw something totally different. They saw a blueprint.
And I never would have thought that, a researcher working on AI would think that this is something that, could have helped.
We'll be right back. "2,000 miles away in Washington, D.C., Kevin's article caught the attention of a researcher working inside one of the Defense Department's most secretive innovation labs.
I'm Matt Turek. I was the Deputy Office Director for the Information Innovation Office at DARPA.
DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Essentially, the Pentagon's R&D lab. It's where the government dreams up the future. It's the group that invented GPS, stealth technology, and yeah, even the internet.
DARPA was founded with the mission of creating strategic surprise for national security.
Matt called Dr. Menace, Kevin, to talk about the connection between their work. What he saw in Kevin's story wasn't just medicine, it was decision-making under impossible constraints. And he explained that one of DARPA's jobs is to improve how the military makes decisions during war, including medical decisions. Kevin started to understand the link. After all, ER doctors and battlefield medics all face the same core problem. Too many patients, too little time.
So things like battlefield triage, for instance, even exquisitely trained trauma surgeons presented with the same information, they could make very different decisions, very justifiably.
Ethical decisions. Decisions like red flag or yellow flag. Treat this patient first or that one. These are technical problems. They're moral ones. And Matt started to wonder if AI could help navigate those gray areas. Could a machine untouched by fear, fatigue, or trauma outperform a human under pressure? Especially in moments when doctors have to choose whether to follow protocol or break it. That's what caught Matt's attention when he read Kevin's article about his decisions during a mass shooting. Because Kevin did break protocol, and he had to.
So he literally turned to a nurse who'd been working alongside him in the parking lot and said, "You see what I've been doing. Make sure people go to the right places." And that also contravenes typical triage policy, which is that the most senior physician, the most experienced one, should be the one making the trauma decisions.
And then there was that black tag, that marker for patients beyond saving. In the chaos, Kevin didn't want to risk declaring someone dead prematurely, a human instinct. But later, he wondered if that instinct cost time.
That first card, I should have black tagged all 5 right in the beginning. And there were a couple more patients that had come in, and I should have black tagged them.
This is the space DARPA is trying to enter. The space between compassion and consequence, between instinct and outcome. And this, the second guessing, the improvisation, the moral weight, is exactly what is hardest to encode. And that's the gap DARPA wants to close. So Matt's team started testing that idea, not in theory, but under pressure. They brought in real military medics and then dropped them into virtual reality simulations. Not to see how fast they could act, but to understand how they reasoned when the rules started to bend. Realistic battlefield scenarios designed to push decision makers to their limits. This is one of the actual recordings they used.
The transport has arrived and they have room for 3 patients. Who do you want to send?
There was one environment that was reminiscent of some of the places that the U.S. military has been deployed in the past. And then the way the scenarios unfold, they are carefully designed to present some of these forced choices to the decision makers.
The simulations aren't about gore or spectacle. They're about forcing choices. The same kinds of choices medics might face in real life.
You've got 2 victims in front of you. They have similar injury patterns. You only have resources to treat one of them. Who do you treat?
And then, just when they think they've decided, the ground shifts.
You now find out, well, one of them was the perpetrator, the other was the victim. Does that change your decision?
The point isn't the answer. It's what happens when the answer stops being obvious. As the medics go through the scenarios, they narrate their thinking. So the AI systems can learn not just what they chose, but why. The program is still in fairly early stages, but what would it look like in the real world? Would it be a tablet app, wearables, maybe even a robot? Whatever form it takes, Matt hopes it can do one thing well: hold more of the chaos at bay than a human mind can.
That AI system could know the status of all the operating rooms, of all the supplies, of all the medicine, of all the blood, for instance, that are available. That's not going to fit in one person's head, but it could fit in the span of awareness of a AI system.
The idea isn't judgment without humans. It's judgment with better awareness. Matt's program is called In the Moment. It's focused on triage, but also something much broader: how decisions get made when there's no good option. And while the technology is advancing, it may face a hurdle bigger than just tech: human trust.
In medicine, we tend to be very suspicious of anything new.
Doctors, even ones like Kevin Menace, are understandably wary of handing off life and death decisions to machines.
I think the medical legal responsibility that we as physicians feel terrifies physicians enough to be cautious about taking on new technology or new techniques and procedures.
So would Kevin trust Matt's AI program?
Me? If it is what I envision, yes. That the technology can keep up and eventually do something that could mimic the decisions that we had done that night. But in the current form of the way that ChatGPT just, sifts the internet for information and then compiles it in a paragraph, I think those type of algorithms are they're step forwards from what we had before. But in order to make a difficult decision on the fly, it's a completely different. It's much more complex than that.
For Kevin, the answer isn't a no, but it's not a yes either. It's a pause. AI can read the medical literature. It can summarize studies. It can even recognize patterns. But what Kevin had to do that night wasn't just medicine. It was exercising judgment under impossible circumstances. And that's a much harder thing to automate. This is Click Here. Here's what you need to know from the tech world this past week. It's Tuesday, August 4th.
The thing that tech experts have been sounding the alarm about over AI, it looks like it happened.
For years, researchers have worried about what would happen if AI systems went rogue and began hacking on their own. Last week, two of the world's biggest AI companies saw a flash of that future. First, OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT. During a security test, its models didn't just find software vulnerabilities, they exploited them. Over 4 days, the systems carried out more than 17,000 hacking actions across the internet. Then, just days later, Anthropic, which created the Claude chatbot, announced that one of its AI systems broke into 3 separate organizations after it was mistakenly left connected to the internet. The incidents were different, but together they pointed to the same concern. AI systems are becoming capable of carrying out complex cyber attacks with less and less human involvement. More than 1,000 AI researchers have now signed an open letter calling for governments to slow the development of these increasingly capable AI models. Even Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO, says the industry may need a little more oversight. The question is no longer whether AI can hack, it's what happens when it can do that at scale. Hims and Hers help take telehealth mainstream. Need a prescription? Open an app, talk to a clinician. Medication arrives at your door. Now, the company is facing accusations that even more was going on behind the scenes.
The FTC claims Hims and Hers lures consumers in with a promise of a free consult, but actually saddles them with a subscription that's tough to cancel.
The Federal Trade Commission says Hims and Hers shared sensitive patient information with advertising platforms run by Meta and Snap, and they made it difficult for customers to cancel their subscriptions. The company disputes the allegations. It says its privacy practices comply with the law and that customers control how their personal information is used. Investors reacted quickly. The stock fell nearly 15%. For customers, though, the bigger question may be far simpler. When your healthcare happens online, you have to wonder who else is looking.
One hacked developer account just put North Korea hackers inside apps used by millions of people, and nobody had to click anything.
North Korean hackers aren't just targeting companies anymore. They're breaking into the software those companies rely on. Amazon says a North Korean-linked group compromised widely used open-source JavaScript libraries. One of them, Axios, is downloaded more than 100 million times a week. The attackers allegedly tricked a developer into giving them access, and then they quietly published malicious updates. Organizations that automatically installed the latest version also installed malware designed to steal passwords, cryptocurrency, and other sensitive information. North Korea has increasingly relied on cybercrime to bring in money in a bid to get around international sanctions. Last year alone, researchers say it stole more than $2 billion in cryptocurrency. The latest attack is a reminder that the internet isn't built by a handful of giant companies. It's built on millions of shared pieces of software. And if one of those pieces is compromised, everyone downstream becomes a target. And finally, schools are often eager to welcome the latest tech into the classroom. And one school district in Western New York thought it had found the future.
Salamanca High School was set to become the first school in the country to introduce Sally, that's an AI-powered robot, into some classrooms this fall.
The district planned to spend $60,000 on Sally, a humanoid robot designed to teach high school students about artificial intelligence and robotics. But the rollout quickly ran into opposition. Parents worried about student privacy, and teachers worried about what role AI might eventually play in the curriculum. Then critics discovered that Sally's manufacturer, Realbotics, has an independent but related company known for making sex dolls. School officials insist Sally would never collect students' personal information and argued rural students deserve access to emerging technologies too. For now, though, many in Salamanca would rather keep the future at arm's length. Click Here is a production of Recorded Future News and PRX. Today's show was written and produced by Megan Dietrich, Sean Powers, Erica Gutta, Zach Hirsch, and Maya Fawaz. It was edited by Karen Duffin and Sarah Cavedo and fact-checked by Darren Ankrum. Original music is by Ben Livingston with additional music from Blue Dot Sessions. Our staff writer is Lucas Riley, our illustrator is Megan Goff, and our sound designers and engineers are Jake Cook and Jesse Neiswanger. I'm Dina Tumble-Raston, and thanks for listening.